Well, hey guys, it's Kiana and Speros. Want to say hi face to face. Want to say thank you so much for the support and love we've been receiving our channel. We are very new to this, obviously, and we've been doing this for a couple months. And we thought it'd be great to be able to kind of pop on and see some of our, supporters, answer any questions, just have random chats, and be able to do our first live together and kind of see where things go. We're excited to meet some people. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll just add to that. I'm also super excited. Both of us, of course. First time. So if you guys see any technical errors or issues, just kind of bear with
Bear
us.
with us as we
We'll make
first
it.
time do this. Yeah.
We'll make it all work. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here and giving me a chance to meet you all.
I mean, to be honest, both of us are at least me in particular, pretty shy personality where we're not the most comfortable in front of the camera. So being able to create some content and put ourselves on, YouTube or videos out there, it was nerve-wracking. And then now going live and being able to hopefully meet some people and chat, it's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking for us again. So
Yep.
do you want to start off with a few questions, maybe?
Let's do it. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a great idea.
Okay. I know we got a few questions we've been collecting the past few weeks or so from some of our followers or viewers, and we wanted to be able to go live and kind of answer or chat about some of those today. Do you want to kick off with the first one? Okay, the first question we had was, what kind of content can people expect from this channel going forward? And to be honest, we started off this channel with focus on leadership and business and being able to share our experiences and background in hopes to help people and have them practice things through their leadership journey. But we've been working on a variety of different content that isn't only focused on leadership and business. We want to be able to show some about just life in general, as well as some health and fitness contents, because in our mind, to be able to be successful or to be able to really focus on like building the best version of yourself, it isn't just business or leadership or work. It's really about building your own confidence and your body and your health and just being able to kind of be at a whole. I don't know, what do you think, Spills?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've been through quite a lot, in our journey through life. I mean, who hasn't through life, but also a lot through business. We had the great opportunities to be through some very interesting times in business, scaling a business from almost nothing, about a million, to working together to scale it to over 40 plus million, over 200, 300, I think 400, some 50 employees. Um, and also having to scale it back down for various reasons. So a lot of highs and lows, a lot of learning as we go. The two of us has very different backgrounds. I've had a very academic background. Kiana has had a lot of experience and has risen to the top, if I may say so myself, very quickly, a lot more quickly than most people that I know. Um, so very, very, very strong leader. I myself, I try to really become a real strong leader through a lot of, books that I've read and leaders that I've really experienced and liked. Um, and yeah, and I think there's a lot to be discussed, a lot to be shared with people to help them lead better. And leadership is not just in the office. Leadership is at your house. Leadership is when you're out with friends. Leadership is your family. Leadership is everywhere. It's just the idea that you're taking on the role of helping guide your group, let's say, to wherever you're going. And sometimes the leader doesn't necessarily even mean that you're the one making the decisions. You just might be the one that takes up the time to just get the group together and organize it so you can move forward together. So this stuff really excites me. Our channel, everything we're doing really excites me because I get frustrated sometimes when I see content out there that shows things that are wrong, maybe perhaps the way I would say, straight up would say just wrong, but maybe seems to be misleading or not giving the full answer or not giving you the full context. It's like just that one title is like a grab, and then you go in and you're like, well, that that sounds good, but then when you know more about that subject, you're like, well, that's not quite the way it works, you know. So I really hope our channel, either we talk about fitness, we talk about life, we talk about business, we talk about scaling companies, we talk about, you know, whatever the case may be, we're giving you not only knowledge that we've gained from like reading and seeing things, but we also are giving you knowledge from personal experience, where we can say, here's the journey we took, here's the things we came across, and here's how it impacted us, you know, and here's how we approached it. So in that case, you get real world experience of how something worked in the environment that we were in, and we'll tell you the successes and our failures. But I feel like you can learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot more from people talking about their experience than you can from people just giving you advice. For me, a lot of times, like advice is always like cold. It's like, do this, don't do that, don't touch the stove. But it takes sometimes you to touch the stove, or it takes somebody to give you the experience about touching the stove of like, when I touched
Yeah.
it, like my hand got red, I got really hurt, then you know, it bubbled up, whatever. So I think that's really important. I think for a lot of people, including myself, I resonate with that a lot more. That's why I think this is really really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of leads to another question we got, which was like when people watch our channel, what feelings or what did they say the exact? When people watch our channel, what feelings do we want the people to have, right? And I would say, honestly, we created this channel originally off just the thought of we went through a lot of ups and downs, lesson learned, right and wrong, just experiences through our entire career and leadership journey that we thought was beneficial and helpful to provide for others because there just was not much out there. But as things started to progress and we started to grow, and in addition to making more content, we realized we want a channel like when people are watching, we want them to be able to feel a connection with us. I want people to be able to feel that these are helpful tips and you're able to practice them, you're able to take something away, and ultimately we just want our channel to make a difference and an impact for people. Our goal has always been, and we both have like the mentality of wanting to help people, and that comes down to not only in their career or their growth. It's also more of like, I want to help people grow confident in themselves. I want to be able to provide guidance, to be able to make things easy to digest. We want it to be fun, we want it to be entertaining for you all to watch as well, on top of just resourceful and knowledge. So we never really had like a going into making our channel of, oh, it needs to be this outcome, versus we just want our information to be helpful, impactful, and we want people to enjoy it. We want it to be able to know that there's real people out there like everybody else, and this is kind of what we've been experiencing. Wanted to kind of just share our life and journey with everyone. So
Well
yeah.
said.
Another question that came about was, what is one thing each of you does that drives the other crazy? Just too many for me to list. No, I think I wouldn't necessarily say like it drives me crazy. It's
Uh-oh.
more of we are just so different in our personalities, and I think that's why we make such good partners for dynamic duos in our YouTube creations. Is my personality is very much more of go with the flow, intuition vibes, being able to just be pretty casual, kind of try to be an open book and discuss and chat and see where things go. I am a very free spirited person. Um, and Speros is extremely risk averse and data centric. So everything we do or talk about is always like, well, let me look at the data. Let me check on this and let me research this. Wait, I don't trust that. Let me check this. And it's constantly more of like a I don't know, like by the book, go, go, go type. So I wouldn't necessarily say it drives me crazy. I mean, there are times where I'm like, come on, just relax and ease into it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Just relax. It's just very different personalities, I would say, on the way we go about life. What about you, Spills? What do I do that drive you crazy? I know there's
Yeah,
not
it's the
much.
exact opposite. Well, for me, it's like trust but verify, and I think from like personal experience and whatever might have happened in the past in my life, I've always, said to myself, I mean, you do the same, right, Kiana? But you are a lot more intuitive. You can just kind of like feel like that's the right answer, and almost always it seems to be the right answer. For me, it's like I want to ground it on research, on validated data or something, so that I can tell myself I want to be able to sleep well at night. And I need to kind of tell myself at the time I had to make that decision, I had all the information that I possibly could. And with that information, I made the best decision. And I want to be able to stand behind that. So when we do research or we do information and we want to talk about a topic, we already have experience, right? We can already talk about the topic. And that's why we're talking about the topic, because we have experience in it and we want to like share experiences. But I'll still go and research it, right? I'll go research it on YouTube, on Chat GPT, on Gemini, and get different opinions, because I want to know all around about it. And then sometimes like a topic that I know a book that talks about it very much, so I'll kind of like review that and kind of look through it. So I go down that road a lot. Whereas in Kiana, I can be like, no, this feels really really right to me. Let's go down this route, or let me just I can just talk about it. Just let's go. Let's start moving. And for me, it's
Yeah.
like, wait, hold on. Should we do like a checklist, or should we do like a order of operation? Like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Let's just go. Where I'm like, wait. You. And by the way, Kiana has like, you have like what do they call it? Like the memory of an elephant. You have like, yeah, very good like photographic memory is a more appropriate way of saying it. I have kind of like the goldfish memory, right? So for me, it's like I
I was
have to
gonna
write
say the
things
member of
down.
an owl, but okay.
A memory of an owl is better than a goldfish. I'll take it. Um, I have to kind of like write it down, right? And kind of have an order of operation, because I can kind of get lost in my thoughts. Like sometimes I have one thought and that just spirals into like another seven, eight, thoughts about that thought. So I kind of go into tangents, as you can see. But I think that's it. It's like sometimes you're just like, let's go this way. And I'm like, oh, hold on. Let's like think about it. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
let's go. Um, but I will say, it's a great relationship, and I think most important thing in any relationship, any partnership out there, it's picking your battles and knowing what hill to die on and what not to. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes
Mhm.
Kiana says some stuff where I'm like, I disagree, but I'm not going to lose sleep going that route, and I'm happy to go that route because like both are right answers, but this is more of her preference than mine. I'm still going to go with it. And there's some things where I'm like, no, 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 like this is we really need to like pause, slow down. We need to go this route, not slow down, but we need to go this route. And she'll concede at that point and say, okay, fine, if you really feel like it. So there's got to
Yeah.
be a give and take, and I think we do a good
It's
job
a
of that. And
compromise, sounds like
a
Speros die
compromise.
on a lot of hills.
I'm just gonna put a flag there.
It's a compromise. But I mean, I would say, here's the thing. It may drive me crazy how data centric he is of like needing to research, but there's the huge benefits of that for me. Because I know at the end of the day, whatever is we like want to do, I don't need to do any research at all. It's like less work for me because I know I'm gonna come back to the table and he's gonna have all the research already done. And be
Yep.
able to be like, boom, look, this is what I found out of the 5 places. I searched for 2 hours and here's the data. Now, what will point back to exactly what I have said based on, yeah, it will, but now there's data behind it, which is great, right? So it's a great balance when it comes down to the different personalities, and it works pretty well. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. Well, another question that was asked was, well, I mean, kind of piggyback off of that, was how do you handle disagreements, like stressful moments together when we're dealing with things? And do we disagree? Yes, a
All the
lot
time.
at times.
Yeah.
But I think the difference here is like when we disagree, well, when we have arguments, we're not hostile against each other. We're
Yeah,
not
never.
there. Yeah, like similar advice in our content that we provide, as a, because we're both mature enough where we have leadership mentality background, and at the end of the day we're trying to lead each other, right? And we both have the same common goal. So we're not at a point where like I'm cussing or yelling or vice versa. Like none of that happens. What we basically do is the mutual respect we have is, I'll kind of say my point, my facts, and why I feel a specific way, and he does his. And then we basically then sit together and discuss it out loud on, okay, like what is the compromise we may want to do? Well, how do we find a middle ground? What do we want to do? We kind of work through it together, right?
Mhm.
Now, there's definitely been times where we can't. we can't find an agreement into a scenario. Like we're going to just both believe our own ways, and that's okay because we both have different perceptions and the way we work is differently. And typically at that point, we just let each other be. You have your way, I have mine, and we just come to a middle ground, way where it may be a different content we decide to create, or it may be something else we decide to do. Or we may just go solo on that specific topic or whatnot. Like it's something we'll kind of just respect each other, we hear each other out, and we discuss it. We never got to a point where we haven't been able to figure things out. I think that in general, that's kind of how like friendship relationships work. You
Yeah.
try to, no matter what, you try to stay with being respectful.
Yeah, I agree. I will say something that sometimes I forget. I think the best of us forget is like when you're listening to your partner, to whoever, you should always have like the priority is seek to understand, not like okay, whatever. Let me give you my point of view, right? Like, why does Kiana have that point of view? Obviously, she's very knowledgeable and experienced, so there must be a reason why she's like very much pushing on that point. So one is seek to understand. We all forget sometimes to seek to understand. We try to jump to our point. That's natural
Yeah.
behavior. But the top of mind, a lot of times I've caught myself where I'm like, well, there's got to be a reason. Let me just kind of kick on that. And you see it, Kiana, where I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Can you explain it more? Can you like,
Yeah.
and the other one is like, and this part is very true of me when I run a team, right? Um, and as when I'm working with Kiana's partners, but also when I'm running a team, which is I personally am not here necessarily to find to be the one to find the right answer. The two of us are collectively here to find the right answer. So it's not like about me finding the right answer. It's not necessarily about her finding the right answer. It's about both of us finding the right answer. And honestly, like nitpicking that answer a little bit, like poking at that answer and validating it so that it is the right one. And we don't go back and said, like, well, why didn't we test this? Like, why didn't we thought about that? Like, you know, so I think that's the other piece more like we're here to both collectively find the right answer. And typically it will use both of our strengths to find that right answer. So
Yeah. We can do a couple more. And the other two that we got, question wise, is definitely more specific to our content and just leadership in general. So one of them was, how do you deal with people that don't respect the job? That's definitely an interesting question because everyone will run into that scenario. Um, I mean, I think at the end, my answer comes down to the why. Again, respect is pretty high bar for me when it comes down to ethics and traits of people in general. This doesn't mean just job, career or job. It's in my personal life. If there is no respect, we're not going to vibe at all. It's just purely as that's probably one of the most important things to me. So if people don't actually, respect the job, your first question is going to wonder why. Are they in the wrong role? The company? Are they even the right fit for your culture? Like what happened? Was it off the bat in the beginning, as soon as they joined the company, they are just like grumpy pants and then just don't respect anybody, don't respect the role? Or did that respect grow throughout the time? That's my thing. My first thing I would say is figure out what happened. When did it happen? And what drove the respect? And then honestly just have a conversation. Like that's always difficult for people to have these type of conflict or confrontational conversations, but it's always needed, especially as a leader. You need to be able to just go straight to the source and have a conversation. Don't be going around people asking, oh, so and so seems like this, what happened? Like you don't need to do that. Just go straight to the source. If you're mature enough and they're mature enough in a company to work, you should be able to just ask what happened. I'm feeling like you are feeling this way, or specific meetings or environments, you're coming off very disrespectful. I want to know what's going on. And at the end, they be able to work through it with them on, is it solvable? If so, give them time, give them a chance to fix and solve their actions. Maybe they're not self-aware or whatnot. If it is not solvable and they're like, I just hate this job, then let's talk about exit plan at that point. There's no point of forcing a fit when it doesn't fit, right? What do they say? Like you can't fit a square, shape into a round hole or whatever. Like what is this say
that's
they
something
have?
like that. That's kind of the
Something
saying. Yeah.
like that, right?
Pretty
Like
close.
yeah. So I mean that's kind of my first advice, quick advice is figure out the why. Can you work through it? If not, let's work out of it.
Yeah. Um, so that yeah, this is a strong question. I had to write down kind of my thoughts. It's kind of how I am. So the first thing that comes down to me is very similar to what Kiana said, of course, as you can imagine. But it would be, let's ask that employee at the side, like a one-on-one. Are they happy? Are they happy to be there? Is this somewhere where they want to be? And then the next question is, why are they there? Maybe they're not happy, but they have to be there, or maybe they are happy and they want to be there, right? So those are the first two questions, I think, because they're kind of pillars as to which way you're going to direct your discussion. Because then they want to be there or they don't want to be there, but they will do the work or they will kind of not do the work and be lazy about it. And those are important points to make. And then after that, it's about, are they doing the work? And it really has to come down to very basic, simple expectations. If they're doing the work, they're staying respectful within the bar that you've set, then they are good. If they are below the bar, you have to be very clear to tell them, hey, 90% of the things they're doing are fantastic. You're doing a great job. High five. No issues there. They don't have to be superstars, but they're at least doing the work at the expected amount, right? But here's where you are not doing the work correctly, or you are being disrespectful to your peers, or when you are being so short and abrupt in your answers that you're creating a conflict within the team, right? And you tell them, like, hey, you don't have to love each other in a team, but you have to show respect. You have to talk with a nice tone of voice, at least pleasant, so you're not just like, making everyone's day worse because your day is worse. So to me, it always comes down to, like, are they happy? And if not, why are they there? And after that, it really comes down to, are they doing the job? And if they're not, again, I think we talked about in videos before, the most important thing and the biggest mistakes people, mostly new leaders, do is they let the little things go by. And I'm not saying you need to write them up for the little things, but you do need to have a discussion with them, even with the little things. So those little things
Acknowledge
don't
it. Yeah.
acknowledge it. So those little things don't become large things. And if you ask that employee, hey, what are you working on? As a manager, what are you working on? Et cetera. They would tell you, hey, this is kind of what I've been told that I'm not doing well. Another part to it too is you always document your discussions so that if it does become an issue over time, you can reference back 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe verbal discussions you've had this employee to fix their behavior. And now you can go with formal documentation. And the most important thing is that that employee doesn't feel like they didn't know what's coming. I think the biggest failure you can do to yourself as a manager or as a leader is to reprimand somebody, even like in family, is to reprimand your kid or something like that without the kid realizing that they got to that point. So you kind of have to have those stages of like, hey, I told you once, hey, I told you twice. Next time we're gonna have an issue, right? Same kind of thing with business. Hey, we talked about this once. All right, let's talk about it again. All right, if we talk about it again, just this is how it's gonna go. We talk about it again,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a write-up. If that's gonna continue, it's gonna be a final. After that continue, you're gonna be out of here. And you always want to have that road map to them to let them know ahead of time so they know which way they're directed. And you say, if you change your behavior and you at least do X, Y, Z, this write up is going to go away in 90 days or whatever the case is, with a company, and they're going to be good. But I think the biggest mistake most leaders do is they see someone do something that they don't like and they don't go tell that employee that they shouldn't be doing that. Where sometimes it's as simple as that. And sometimes it's a little more than that, where you kind of just have to tell them, hey, here's the trajectory. If you continue down this road, this is what's going to happen. If you change your behavior in this way, this is what's going to happen. So again, when you have to lay them off, because sometimes people have to be coached out, some people cannot be coached up. At the very least, that meeting you have when you let them go, you won't feel bad about it. You won't feel like it's a hard discussion because
Mhm.
you will know they let you down or they let themselves down. So that meeting is going to be like, hey, this is coming. You let me down. You let the team down. You let yourself down. I'm sorry to say that. We have to part ways. I mean, it is what it is. And that person, and I've had to do that in my business time. And that person is very much like, yeah, I know. I really want to apologize. I didn't want to go down this way, but I understand. So not to say that it's a graceful exit, but at least again, the worst thing, and I've done this mistake, by the way, Kiana, with one of my employees, and that taught me a very important mistake. When you let somebody go, if they think that is a surprise to them, that is the worst feeling you can have as a manager, and that is the worst, even worse feeling to have as an employee.
Yeah.
So
Because some people are just not self-aware as well. Like I know something I work on is my facial expression and body language. Sometimes I come off like extremely mean or cold. I'm not. It's
you don't
just
say. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm
I'm just
just
kidding.
like not
I
self-aware,
don't say
I'm like, oh, I don't even know I'm making a face, but sometimes it's hard. Like I can't be fake. It's just who I am. If I don't like
that.
you, I don't like you. I can't even fake my face. Like if I don't say it, my face will say it for sure. Like I've seen that, right? So what again, we're just different. It's always the best thing to do is just have a straight up conversation, honest conversation with the individual. And then the last question we'll do on this live is interesting one, also related to the job. The question is, how far do you let people break rules before it's time to let them go? I mean, I have a lot of questions to that question, right? Because obviously it comes down to if you have rules, so you're in place for a reason to protect the company, protect the employee, protect the leader, whatever it may be. So my first question really comes down to like how big is the rule they broke? You know, is it as simple as they walked into work or they showed up 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes late? Or is it something bigger? They leaked, you know, like trade secrets and stuff like that, proprietary information. Like how big is the rule, right? So then it comes down to my advice is number one, breaking any rules, big or small, is not okay. But the way you handle them will be very different. So if it's small in nature of like being late, we'll keep showing up late, we're taking longer lunches, whatever it may be, then you need to have again the conversation. You need to be able to give them acknowledgement of I see you're doing this. I'm aware and I'm watching it. And you know that if doesn't change, give them a chance to be able to like change the behavior. But if it doesn't change, then you need to continue to like have warnings and then write-ups and whatnot. You go down the process. Usually every company has process. Now, of course, there's bigger rules of discrimination. We're putting people down. We're breaking like a huge rule that impacts the health or financial state of the company. I would say there is no really forgiveness for those type of rules. You usually handle it by the HR's process or the company's process, but typically that leads to the extreme um, exit or you know elimination at that point. So I am maybe more strict than some. I don't know. I am a huge believer of if you don't follow or play by the rules, if it's small enough to fix, and I talk to you once, you get one more chance. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna have to be out of here. So that's me. What about you, Spears?
Yeah, I have definitely adjusted over time. Where my early on in my leadership career, I was very lenient on my team, and
Mm.
I would try to work really hard to get them encouraged to work hard for me, because they would see me working hard, so they would kind of essentially work hard, and that worked very well. But for some people, it doesn't. So when I think about how far do you let somebody break the rules, you don't let them break the rules. But here's kind of how I think about it. I think about it a little bit in soccer terms. So bear with me here for a second. Um, there are certain things somebody might do that you say to yourself, okay, this is a coaching opportunity. Next time we have a one-on-one, I'll make sure I note about this and we'll say, hey, great job overall. Everything's great. Here's where you need to improve. That's one thing. Then there's things that somebody does that I consider like a foul, like in
Mhm.
soccer, you get a foul, and hey, I need to talk to you about this relatively quick because hey, you did this thing. It's not at the level of a write up, but you shouldn't do this. If you continue to do this, here's the trajectory. Like the second time, and you repeat it, maybe that then it's a write up, and then continue on there. You kind of explain it, and then there's a yellow card where it's like it's an immediate write up. It's things that you do that are usually write ups are it affects the customers directly, or it affects the business finances directly, or you did something that is not just like a basic issue that you did, like a basic error, let's say, that needs to be addressed formally. It's something beyond that. It's like, hey, if you do this again, you're likely to get, be written up or be, be terminated. And then there's a red card. So to me, it's like three. It's like foul, yellow card, and red card. And red card things is like HR related things, harassment related things, where you either get immediately terminated or you get a final warning. You need immediate change to your behavior, and then you get terminated. I mean, if you do it again, you get
Yeah.
immediately terminated. So I think of them in like these three buckets. There's like the foul, the yellow card, and the red card. And I think of it like like you said earlier, Kiana, every company has their own rules and guides of what fits into what bucket. Generally, they're all very similar, right? Anything that affects the customers is a lot more, or employees is a lot more impactful. Anything that's about yourself and you need to fix might be a coaching or just like a basic thing to fix. So that's one thing to know, right? The other one is if you're not proud of that employee, of them, or you're not proud of your team as a whole, or you're not proud of yourself leading your team, and that thing is bothering you that much to the point where it's actually causing issues, that needs to be addressed, period. So I think with the person that asked that question, they probably have something in mind that's bothering them a lot. So
Yeah.
that's probably already beyond that point. It's like you should already be talking about it. And again, hopefully The sooner you identify, the sooner it's just a coaching opportunity. Hey, everything's great. You're doing fantastic. Here's where you're doing high fives on, etc. Here's one thing I do need you to change though. Here's how how you did something. Here's how, this is, I understand how you expected it to come out, but this is how it was perceived. So
Yeah.
let's how would you like, let's talk about how we can adjust your behavior so it doesn't perceive that. You don't have that issue. So yeah, so to me, it comes down to that idea of like everything should be addressed, because if you don't, then that employee is just going to feel like, hey, I'm doing everything right, everything's good. Gossip is okay. I'm okay to gossip
Yeah.
because nobody told me otherwise. Might be not be a big deal, but maybe that gossip is going to grow over time and become a really big deal, and then become harassment level gossip, right? So it's always good to catch things early, and you don't have to be militant about it. You don't have to be like super strict about it. But I think, again, a simple conversation with that employee goes a long ways. Documenting goes a long ways, because if you see a repetition of that behavior, mostly after you corrected it, then you tell them, hey, look, now we have to kind of like address it formally. I do need to write this up. We need to talk about what your next steps should look like to be behaving within the expected parameters. And if that doesn't happen, here's what's going to happen. So
Yeah. I think the only time I feel like breaking a rule is okay is if there's multiple people breaking it. Because I feel like that comes down to, is the rule itself the problem? Like, is it even the right rule or SOP in place for the business or team that
yeah,
is
well said.
causing the issue? I think that's the only time I will evaluate, instead of the employees, I evaluate the current rule of the company. Because as company grow and changes, sometimes the rules and SOPs and cadences have to change too. Right. So that is something you can be aware of. If the one person continuously doing things and it's obvious that is wrong, then yes, it's that individual. But say if you have a team and you're seeing like 5, 6, 7 people doing it multiple times, or having to break this rule to achieve whatever goal outcome does, you need to
I
evaluate the
agree.
rule.
I agree.
So
It could be the training. It could be the leader. It could be maybe that I am not informing the team properly, or even raising this issue as to what level of importance it is to be
yeah,
so accurate about certain things that need to be done. So it could definitely be. I agree with you 100%. That's a good call out, Kiana. It's like you need to also first reflect on yourself. Hey, did I give everybody the message correctly? Did I give everybody the training correctly? All right, I gave the training. I validated my training by just asking questions and kind of doing another retraining, maybe whatever. But to your point, maybe 3 out of your 5 employees, or 6 out of your 12 employees, or 15 employees are having that issue. Well, maybe that's a little more systematic at that point. It's a little more of like a team-based issue that I need to address. Um, and then once you identify that, then you can really come down to the individual and find out the reason behind it. And I think a big part of that too, Kiana, is like to be kind and graceful enough with your team to know that your team can come to you and ask for help. That's another thing
mhm,
that I've noticed, thankfully, not too much within our or my domain of influence in companies, but I've definitely had friends with and other people that have told me that, like, yeah, I'm not going to go to my manager on this for sure, because they're going to like, I'm worried about what's that word? Not,
like the
is it back?
manager is the problem, the reprobate,
Right.
they're
Right.
scared. Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And that is the worst situation to be in. But that is, I think, if that truly feels genuine, that is truly the case, then you really need to skip step. Go straight to
yeah,
HR, do whatever you need to do. You never stay idle. But, and then we get to look little complex ideas there, because like, well, what if it's like their only job and they're worried about getting fired? They might report, so that can get a little weird. But you always want to go to HR. I think that's like you're always your primary. And I've had really great experience with HR, talking from C-level, talking back down when I was like a sales employee to middle manager, all the steps. Thankfully, the HR systems they were in place in all the jobs that have always been fantastic. As long as I go in there with like a positive attitude and just kind of a lot of respect and say, hey, here's what happened. I'm just curious on how we can go about this. It's always been great. So
yeah. Well, I think that's all of the questions we'll answer in this live. I want to say thank you to everybody that submitted the questions to us. If you want us to answer any questions live, or you have any questions you want just our guidance or tips on, feel free to send them to us. Otherwise, we hope to do some more lives in the future and be able to meet some of you guys again face to face. And you can always ask questions live. But thank you again for everybody's support up to this point.